You can get for this camera. Fuck's sake. This is James from Mad Science Films, and today we're looking at this Sony A5100. I went to Mallorca, and before I went, I thought to myself, I really could do with a different camera to take with me. Reason being is I've got a Sony A7 III, which is a great camera, but it's a little bit expensive and also is a little bit chunky to carry around. I've also got a GH2, which is a very good video camera. Not bad with stills either. But if I was doing video away, I probably would have to stabilize the camera, maybe bring a rig, a slider, and that's just too much to bring along when you're traveling light. So I wanted something that would be small to just put in a sling bag or my pocket, something that would give me great stills and also great video. Also, I didn't want to spend a fortune on a camera. I wanted a camera that could deliver, but also be reasonably priced. Whilst looking for a new camera, I thought about the lenses I have, Sony and Canon lenses. So I thought, right, okay, something Canon perhaps, maybe look at the Canon 80D or the 70D, which would be even cheaper, but there's still a few £100 and they're not quite travel cameras. I decided to look at then the Sony options, like the A6000s, A6300. They're not very expensive, but they are pricey. So I thought, well, okay, let's go back before the A6000, and I stumbled then across the Sony A5100 on the mpb.com website, which is a camera trade and buy-in website for camera and video equipment. On there, they had a Sony A5100 for 150 quid, which was well within my price range. I looked at the specs. The specs on the camera ticked a lot of the boxes. I watched a couple of reviews of the camera on YouTube, very happy with the results people were getting. So I knew this camera could deliver. So a rundown of the specs of this camera. Sony A5100 has a 24.3 megapixel APS-C sensor, so great for photography. You can shoot up to 1080p at 60 frames per second. It has a 204-point hybrid autofocus system. The focusing on this camera is great. I mean, this is all on autofocus now, and you can tell that it's working pretty good. The Sony A5100 has a Sony E-mount, which is great because there's a lot of Sony E-mount lenses out there, both full frame and APS-C. Companies like Rokinon and Samyang are bringing out autofocus lenses for photography that are Sony E-mount, and they're far, far cheaper than Sony's own brand. You can get like nice 85mm 1.4 lenses that are a fraction of the price of the G Masters. You can also buy adapters like the MC11 adapter, and you can mount Canon glass onto the Sony A5100 body. I'm doing it right now with the MC11 adapter and the Sigma 18-35. You can also get some really good kit lenses for this camera. Sony do the 16-50mm, the 18-55mm, so a nice focal range. I think both have the OSS as well, so it'll be steady and stabilized. And that's a great affordable lens if you're just starting out. The screen also is a flip-up screen. It's great for like vlogging and YouTube kind of videos, or if you want to take a selfie out and about, it's perfect, just flip it up, but it's not fully articulated. Screen quality itself isn't too bad. It's not bad for reviewing any videos or pictures which you've taken out and about. The codecs within this camera, you get the MP4, the AVC HD, and the XAVCS. The XAVCS is the more of a pro-like codec, so better quality, and it's 50 megabits bit rate, so not bad footage, not bad codec, can be pushed a little bit in post. The camera has a micro HDMI port with a micro HDMI lead that enables you to attach a external recorder and then output your footage to 422 8-bit. The Sony A5100 also has a USB-C port, which is great. Then you can just plug in a USB-C lead into a PC and transfer your files. Also, you got the ability to charge the batteries within the camera body, although that is pretty slow when charging that way. So I would pick up another charger, perhaps when you get spare batteries, pick up one of those dual battery chargers and use that with a wall plug. You'll probably find then you'll charge a lot quicker. So going back to the screen is touchscreen, but it's limited touchscreen, meaning that you can tap the screen to focus, which is quite useful in video. But you can't navigate around the menu systems because it's all done with the physical wheel on the camera body itself. Now the menu system is extensive. There's a lot of categories and pages to scrub through, which is, you can get used to that. I think it's not the end of the world. A lot of people complain about the Sony UI. It's not really bad once you get to know. A lot of the options in there you probably won't need. So they have made it difficult with this camera body to customize. There's not hardly any customization buttons. There's a help button at the back of the body, which is useful for beginners, people who are just using this camera for the first time. If you feel quite comfortable using the camera and you don't need the help button, you can assign that button to something totally different. So if there's an option which you find yourself digging through the menus for, you could reassign that button to be that option, and that'll save time in the future. I did find though, whilst using the camera, things like f-stops, ISO, shutter speed, that can adjust those settings by using the wheel. So basic functions of the camera, you don't have to go into the camera's menus to dig for it. It's all pretty much there on the camera body. But there are little things like white balance, which you have to dig in the menu for. The camera's not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect camera. In fact, there's a few things which are a bit shit. Lack of IS in the body. Now this is a 2014 camera. It's a small camera, so it's not surprising there's no IS built into the camera body. But with nowadays all these cameras coming out with inbuilt image stabilization, it's worthy to note that this does not have that. There's no hot shoe mount either, so there's no putting triggers or flashes on there. Overheating, the camera does overheat. You get about 10 minutes before it overheats, which isn't the end of the world if you're doing narrative or travel vlogging, because you don't need to be shooting for like a minute or two at a time. If you are wandering around shooting everything for 10 minutes straight, well, that is just wasteful anyway of a memory card. There's no viewfinder, there's no EVF or optical viewfinder, obviously because it's a mirrorless camera. You have to rely on the screen itself. Now, when it comes to shooting out and about, I took this camera to Mallorca, so sunny days, you do get a lot of glare on that screen, so you're gonna have to try to cup your hand around the viewfinder or pick an angle where the glare is not too bad. There is an option to turn the brightness up on the screen, but bear in mind that will reduce batteries, so take spare batteries with you, especially if you're out and about. A plus, but also a negative, is this camera has Wi-Fi capabilities, which is great if you're out and about and you wanna transfer some photos to a smartphone or a tablet. The downside to this is the Wi-Fi app for Sony. It's not just exclusively to the Sony A5100, all Sony devices. The Wi-Fi app is pretty poor. So the Sony A5100, who is it for? Definitely travel photographers and videographers. I would recommend taking this camera. It's perfect with one of those kit lenses I mentioned earlier. So light and compact. You get that OSS with this kit lens, so that's fantastic for handheld footage. It'd be perfect for any YouTube starters, perfect for any budding photographers. So that's my review of the Sony A5100. Let me know what you think of the camera yourself. Do you own the camera? Do you hate it? Anything I've missed out, then please leave some comments down below. But don't forget, if you did like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you want to stay tuned for more, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you next time.